Hey y'all, my name is Levi, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Native American flute. You know what I love about these flutes? It's that they're so versatile. There's so much you can do with these flutes. You can play with other instruments like piano and guitar. I just love them. They're my favorite instrument. That's about the only instrument that I can play. But today, I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to start playing the Native American flute. Tip number 1 is to check your flute. That's right, check your flute. The way a flute works is air goes through here and there's a chamber. Well, if you can see, this chamber stops right here, and then this part of the flute is another chamber. So the air passes through here, comes up there, and through what we call a bird. Now, some makers make birds differently. This one has a groove on the inside, and the air passes through this little groove, and half the air goes through the flute and the other half goes out of the flute. Because of that, it makes a vibration noise, and that's how you get the sound. So, in order to get the sound right, you have to adjust the bird. Oops. So normally you'd want to put the bird right flush against that hole, and that's what makes the sound. A lot of times, a lot of beginners they'll get frustrated because, hey, my flute's not working. Why ain't my flute working? Did I buy a crappy flute? No. A lot of times you just have to fix this. This will solve a lot of trouble and heartache. Tip number 2, finger placement. So another thing that beginners don't like to, but beginners struggle with is finger placement. You have to make sure that your fingers are over the holes. If it's not, this is what happens. An awful noise, and I'm sure your loved ones don't want to hear that all day. So, finger placement, make sure your fingers are over the holes. That's why I like to recommend a flute in the key of A. Stay away from bass flutes if you're just starting to play the flute, because bass flutes are bigger and you have to stretch your fingers out a little more, and it makes it harder for beginners to play. So this is a bass flute, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Well, this isn't exactly a bass flute, I lied, but it's a bigger, deeper flute. I would stay in the key of A. It's a good starting flute. I bought this flute in Cherokee. This is exactly what I started with. I started with this flute. These flutes are awesome though. They have a good sound to it, and they just play amazing. Tip number 3, breath control. Breath control is a very important part of playing. A lot of people think that you have to, blow into the flute really hard and stuff, but you really don't. It takes very little breath. I'll give you an example. This is how long one breath can take. It's pretty good. So breath control is key. You can make a bunch of different sounds. You can make different melodies just from breath control. I'll give you some more examples. So you can, I call these the toot songs, where it's like short bursts of breath. So just short little breaths, and that can make a whole song. Another way of breathing, or another way of playing, would be vibrato. I'm terrible at that word, vibrato. So you can make it through your breath. So breath control is key. That's a major part of playing the Native American flute. And last but not least, and the most important tip that I can give anybody, after you master all these things and you start playing, there's one key tip, and that is play with your heart. No matter what you do, you can, as long as you play with your heart, you're going to play a great song. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share. I hope y'all have a great night. And this is Levi's Table Talk.